Okay, perfect. So for those of you that have not met me, my name is Callie Foster. I am the VISTA Program Manager, and I have, I don't know, maybe 20 slides for you today, and then I have some, I've allotted some time for questions as well at the end of this. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the webinar for Summer Associates for the year 2020. And hopefully we can get them all onboarded and ready to start on June 8th. It says mid-August, depending on if you have elected into the 8 or 10-week position. Let's see. There we go. So like I said, my name is Callie Foster. I'm the VISTA Program Manager. I've put my information there for you. My email address is probably the best way to get a hold of me right now because like most of you, I am currently working remotely from home. And if you'd like to have a phone conversation, please give me a shout through email and I will give you my personal cell number. We should also have Claire Foley on the line. Claire, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Hi, I'm Claire Foley. I'm the program specialist at Campus Compact. And that is my email and phone number. We'll talk a little bit about my involvement with Summer Associates later on.
Great, thanks, Claire. And then Josh Vanek, our Associate Director, should be here as well. Josh, are you out there?
Josh is here. Hello.
Thanks, Josh.
I won't refer to myself in the third person anymore.
Great. And what I'd like to do is spend a few minutes allowing you all to introduce yourselves. Please state your name, your organization, and your location. Would someone like to get that rolling?
Okay, so I guess I'll jump in there. This is Amy Vaughn. I work for the Boys and Girls Club of the Flathead Reservation. And our primary club is based in Ronan, but we do have a smaller club that's in Wilson as well.
Great, thank you, Amy.
It's Kathy Hay from Big Fork Aces After School and Summer Programs.
Great, thank you.
Good. Mine shows up as Jean Zossel. She's our executive director. I am Tammy McDaniel. I'm just on our Garden City Harvest account. So yeah, so I am the Youth Harvest Project Director for Garden City Harvest. So we're a teen employment program focused on youth development through farming and education and food distribution to the community.
Great, and where are you located, Tammy?
Oh, I'm in Missoula.
Perfect, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm in Missoula too. I'm the Youth Programs Manager at the Montana Natural History Center, and our Summer Associate will be working with our Summer Camps program, which is definitely happening, hopefully. Yes.
Great, thank you.
This is Connie Turnus-Daniels, and I'm with Action Inc. Out of Butte, and we do the Summer Meals program both in Butte and in Deer Lodge.
Great, thanks for being here.
Hi, I'm Kia Lizak from the Zootown Arts Community Center in Missoula, Montana. And also joining with me is Joe Kirk, who is our new volunteer and youth development coordinator. This is his first day on the job.
Welcome, joining an interesting time.
Absolutely.
I'm Beth Judy I'm a volunteer with the State of Montana Arboretum, which is the University of Montana campus in Missoula.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi, my name is Lyra Lee Nedboer, and I'm at the Gallatin Valley Food Bank in Bozeman, and we run about 15 summer lunch sites across the county.
Great, thanks for being here.
Hi, I'm Leah Weaver. I work at the Gallatin Valley YMCA in Bozeman, Montana, and yeah, just looking to, hopefully we're running our summer camps too this summer.
Yeah. Is there anyone else out there?
Hi,
I'm Sarah Filzer. I'm the education director for Exploration Works. I'm actually a former VISTA, former MTCC VISTA.
Yay!
Yeah. I served a campus core term and a full year VISTA term. And I am in Helena, Montana. That's where XWorks is located.
Thank you.
And my name is Tess, and I'm on here with Ro. We run the GUTS program out of the YWCA here in Missoula, which is also a summer program. So echoing everybody else's hopefulness that it can happen.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
This is Claire Ann with MAPS Media Institute. We have programs down in Ravalli County and over in Helena. And we've been a proud site host for both AmeriCorps and VISTA for years. And really excited to again have summer folks with us.
Great, thanks for being here.
Ro here from YWCA Guts. I'm on my bike right now, so I don't have my video on, but good to be with you all from the Guts program, YWCA Missoula.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Ro.
Hi, this is Cassie Solberg with Trio Upward Bound at MSU Billings.
I don't know if we heard you that well. Was it Cassie?
Yes.
Yes, hi, thanks for being here, Cassie. Did we miss anyone that wanted to speak up?
Callie, I think in the chat, we've got Weston Flippo from the Bozeman Public Library, and their microphone and camera are not currently working.
Okay, perfect. Yep. Josh, would you mind monitoring that for me? Perfect.
No problem.
Okay, great. Okay, well, now that everyone has introduced themselves, I'm going to move forward. Thanks again for being here, everyone. So our objectives of this webinar is to ensure that you have a good understanding of Montana Campus Compact and our Summer Associate program, the Summer Associate terms, conditions, and benefits, our response to COVID-19 and how that is affecting our programming, as well as a timeline. Claire will do a bit about recruitment, and then we will go into your role as a host site. Okay, so in terms of Montana Campus Compact, for those of you that don't know, we're a statewide coalition of colleges and university presidents who are committed to addressing community needs through the resources of higher education. We have a coalition of, I think, 18 colleges and universities across Montana, and we are also part of a larger national campus compact, which I think there's about 32 of us across the US. So we are part of a larger organization. But we are all committed to addressing community needs through the resources of higher education. In terms of VISTA, we are one of the, I don't know, dozen compacts maybe that supports national service. And so we have a VISTA program, and VISTA stands for Volunteers in Service to America. And these are members that are placed in community organizations, public agencies, or college campuses to create and expand programs that build capacity and ultimately bring low-income individuals and communities out of poverty. So Summer Associate program is a branch of VISTA. It is offered one time a year during the summer. And that's where you come in, where you're going to host one or more, for some of you summer members, in the hopes that you can implement your programming to help bring low-income individuals out of poverty, or to focus on what some of our priorities are, is education and summer feeding programs. So I'll get into that a little bit. Our Summer Associate priorities, I'm not going to read through all of this because it's a lot of wording, but things that we focus on are meal sites that serve both youth and elders, educational programs that help maintain enrollment and support school success in grades K through 12. We really like projects that focus on STEM and prevent summer learning loss. Further, some of our priorities also are programming for students in grade 9 through 12 working towards a GED, or for students preparing for college and careers. we also focus on programming that supports and or engages veterans and military families. And we haven't had too many projects that focus on opioid projects like treating opioid misuse, addiction, and recovery, but that is something that VISTA Summer Associates focus on in general. Am I missing something in the chat, Josh? I see it kind of dinging at me.
We also have Wendy Campbell on from the Bitterroot Public Library in Hamilton.
Okay. Great. Thanks for being here, Wendy. Okay, so in terms of our Summer Associate program, we offer an 8 or 10 week service opportunity for college students or soon to be college students. Our projects are available at college campuses, schools, nonprofit, and community entities. Like I mentioned before, the goal of VISTA is to help alleviate poverty. That's pretty much the overarching goal of AmeriCorps in general. Members serve for full time, so we're looking at between 35 and 40 hours a week for you to engage these members with your project. They can, members can engage in indirect and direct service during summer associate terms. Typically, a VISTA member for a full year can only prioritize indirect service, but this is a little bit of a unique situation. They also align with our program priorities of education and veterans. And then we have 2 service terms. I believe only one of you have elected into the 8-week service term. So both service terms will start on June 8th. That will be the first day of service for all of our summer associates. For the folks that have elected into the 8-week term, it goes from June 8th to August 3rd, and then the 10-week term is June 8th to August 17th. So that's when your members will be serving, and it is $1,000 per member for the host site. So in terms of summer member benefits, I've broken out the pay for it. It's called a living stipend. So for 8 weeks, over the total 8 weeks, it'll be about $1,916. There's probably some cents after that, but I don't remember that. And this is pre-tax, paid bi-weekly through the MTCC office. In terms of 10-week service terms, it's going to be $2,395. Again, that's pre-tax and paid bi-weekly through our office. Typically, their first paychecks come as a paper check, and then after that, if they have elected into direct deposit, every 2 weeks, their pay will be deposited directly into their bank account. All members, upon completion of the service term, will receive an education award of $1,311, or they can elect into a cash award or a cash stipend of 8 weeks. The 8-week service term will be $276, and then 10 weeks it will be $345. The difference between these two is the education award is considered kind of a voucher. It lives as a government trust within the My AmeriCorps portal, which is their account, and it is valid for up to 7 years, I believe, whereas the cash award is just cash that is given to them at the end of their service term. I believe it's part of their last paycheck. They will also receive orientation training and a close of service training through our office. There's a bit more information on our website, which is mtcompact.org, and if you look at the AmeriCorps VISTA page, you'll be able to find the benefits of service. There is some information on there about full year information, so you want to make sure that with our website, you're looking at summer associate information, not year-long benefit. Benefits that summer members unfortunately do not receive. They are not eligible for healthcare, life insurance, child care allowances, medical or personal days off, or relocation allowances or housing. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, but usually with our year-long members, they receive these benefits. But because this is such a condensed short-term service period, these things are not offered to them through our office or VISTA from the national, from the from CNCS, excuse me, for the Corporation for National and Community Service. Okay, Josh, would you like to spend a little time talking about campus community partnerships?
Yep, thank you, Callie. And I think Lyra had a question about the education award. Just it's a one-time, it is a one-time kind of lump that they get at the end of their service, and it sits in the National Service Trust. They don't get it as a check or anything, but because it has these really specific uses, they can send it off to either a college or to pay down loans that they've got with it. So yeah, as Callie mentioned, we're a network of higher ed institutions across the state and a national organization that's the same thing. So kind of at our core, we're about how higher ed kind of can partner with nonprofit and kind of bring to bear some of its resources, with the community of folks that are really working hard on, making our communities more equitable and sustainable places. So we're sort of scrambling in the, whatever you call this, corona virus world or pandemic, I guess, to understand fully what the implications of this are going to be. But I'll talk generally about this and then we'll have time for questions. We really value the opportunity that folks in the nonprofit sector and government sector offer to students when you take them in for kind of hands-on learning experiences, service experiences. To the best of our abilities, we'd love it if you can recruit Montana college students. We're not hard and fast on that, but as a network of colleges, we really love it when the VISTA Summer Associate positions are filled by college students. We have kind of organizationally at each of our 18 institutions, we have an advisory committee member. And these are folks that kind of directly wear the hat for Campus Compact locally. And I think they're a good place to start with kind of talking about a recruitment strategy. How do we get this in front of students? Are there particular faculty members who might hear a presentation on this? Certainly with classes in person canceled, there's all kinds of logistical challenges with this. But I still think these, our advisory committee members are working and are on email and phone, and these aren't fully insurmountable problems. But that's kind of the background of that campus partnership that we'd like to see as kind of part of each service position.
Great, thank you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so the moment we've all been waiting for, some of our COVID-19 impacts. We really haven't seen that much of a difference in policies from the Corporation for National and Community Service. We have been given the approval to carry out our Summer Associates program safely, of course, but based off of the guidance that they have given us, this is what I have to report. Starting June 8th, all VISTA Summer Associates may engage in teleservice, is what they're calling it, starting on their first day, but there are a few stipulations. So all VISTA Summer Associates may teleservice starting their first day, June 8th, if the Summer Associate has adequate equipment, workspace, and capabilities to teleserve on a full-time basis. They have completed a teleservice agreement, which will have to be signed by you, the site supervisor, the member, and then it has to be funneled through the MTCC office, so through myself, and then up to our grants manager with CNCS. They have to have daily supervision from the site supervisor, so that means a daily check-in or whatever you can come up with, but it needs to be daily supervision. And they are able to report to your service site within 24 hours 24-hour notice once safe to do so. So this is the guidance that we have been given. And since we are kind of the middle people between CNCS and you, we are trying to do the best that we can, but we know that circumstances are different per site. You know, it might be easier for some of you to engage in teleservice compared to other sites like summer feeding programs. So I'll move on to our timeline. Before I do that, it looks like we had a question in the chat.
Yeah, Claire Ann is asking, will MTCC provide the teleservice agreement, or is it the responsibility of the organization?
So we will provide that to you and to your member. It is a formal document that CNCS has given us. So we will provide everything that you need in order to make sure that you are approved for teleservice. We have come up with an internal timeline about COVID-19 impacts, and we are trying to follow along with the governor's timeline of the stay-at-home order. So April 24th is supposed to be our 2-week mark of the most recent stay-at-home order that Governor Bullock has put into place. So on the 24th, we are hoping to hear from all of you to let us know if you can still carry out your programming during the stay-at-home order, and can you support a member through teleservice. Also next week, we will be releasing some guidance in the form of an FAQ. I'm sure there are a lot of questions that you have, and we are trying to kind of figure that out as time goes on. So we're hoping that we can make sure that our procedures and guidance is ready to go and released to you next week. I'm hoping it will be before Friday. Building off of the question of can you still carry out your programming during the stay-at-home order, if you can, we are expecting you to come up with a teleservice plan and submit it to us by the 8th of May. And all while this is happening, we hope that y'all are recruiting for your summer associates. I know some of you have already engaged in interviews, or you have done some advertising so far. So by the 14th of May, all members need to be communicated to myself or Claire, so we can start our onboarding process with those members, because there is some hiring paperwork that we need to do with UM. And then also I have a deadline with CNCS of the 20th to have all of them into the system on our back end of things. So I'm trying to build out deadlines. So May 14th will be your last day by 5 p.m. to let us know who you have decided to hire as your summer associates. And then June 8th is the first day of service and your members' orientation. Depending on how things are looking with the COVID-19 stuff, we typically hold orientation on their first day of service at the MTCC office at UM. And so if that is not the case, we will be holding that virtually, and we will organize that with you and your members. And I do want to say that with all of these deadlines, I will make sure to communicate or send out some type of Google form or a survey for you to be answering these questions. I know that you filled out the survey that was due last week. There were some yes or no questions there and a little bit of narrative. So we will be going through all of that and making sure that what your needs are, that we are taking that into account. And then we're going to send out that guidance based off of some of the questions that we received in that survey. Okay, so I'm going to move it over to Claire Foley to talk about recruitment for summer associates.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm the program specialist. I typically lead recruitment for full-time members, and I'm also helping out a lot with summer associates. So the first thing I want to say is that we recognize each of you as the expert in who you want to hire, who's going to be a good fit for your site. So we are asking you to prioritize local partner-led recruitment. Essentially, we're asking you to recruit your own summer associate candidates. Our commitment is to advertise summer associate opportunities in general as the general program. So we do that through posting on our website. We're posting each of your service sites on our website. They might be already there. They're coming in a few days. We also do blog posts and Facebook posts to make sure that we're reaching people that are reading those. We have a monthly newsletter that goes out to our campus affiliates, and these opportunities as a whole have been presented to all of the people who are getting that newsletter. We've also sent recruitment materials to each of our campus affiliates in the form of flyers, social media templates, things like that. So everyone has access to those in our affiliation. And then our current AmeriCorps and VISTA full-time members have committed to presenting to classes, although this seems like maybe a moot point now that everything's on Zoom. But before kind of everything went to Zoom, folks were going around and making sure that there was that in-person contact about this opportunity. We've also been lucky enough to hire a full-time or a part-time VISTA recruiter, and she's been going to mostly classes and talking about this opportunity as well. And then for University of Montana students, we've posted this on Handshake, which is our job site for students, and then we've also put up flyers on campus. Okay, so your commitment, we're asking you to utilize your campus partner. Each campus has their own volunteer site, their own job site, and we're asking you to kind of utilize those to get the word out about your specific position. Flyers, if possible, maybe at grocery stores or other places that people are congregating at the moment. I don't know that we're actually recommending classroom recruitment at the moment, but we do know that you all have volunteer pools or social media followings of people that already care a lot about the services that you're providing. And I think that oftentimes this is a really great way to get a candidate that already knows kind of what you'll be up to this summer. So as much as you can, publicizing this to your current volunteer pool or your current followers on Facebook, Instagram, social media, your website. We've seen this be really successful in the past to getting some really awesome summer associate candidates. The basic eligibility criteria for a summer associate is they should be at least 18 years old when they're serving with you. They can't be listed on the National Sex Offender Public Registry. They can't be a friend or family member of the person in leadership. So it can't be, nepotism is prohibited. They must be able to serve on a full-time basis during the project period, 35 to 40 hours a week. During the service period, they can't currently be employed with the University of Montana because we'll be doing the hiring process through UM. And they must have 2 professional references and apply officially through the AmeriCorps portal.
Claire, I don't know, were you doing this slide or was I?
You could do it.
Okay, perfect. So in terms of summer associate screening, step 1, of course, is to start brainstorming potential candidates. Step 2 is that our office approves host site applications and creates national service listings. So step 1, hopefully you've already started. Step 2, we have also started. I was able to create national service listings that are posted on the myamericorps.gov portal, which is the official AmeriCorps site for potential candidates to apply through. So I know some of you have received emails from Claire stating that someone has applied to your position, and we are CCing that person onto that email so you can be in contact with them and set up an interview. We are also attaching their applications and references. Sometimes candidates do not have both references when we pass them on, but we're hoping that before you make your decision, we can get those references to you. Step 3, host sites and Montana Campus Compact directs candidates to apply to national service listings. So with the help of social media and everything that we've committed to doing, and plus our VISTA recruiter who is working part-time to help us, she has been really great and instrumental in gathering interested folks that have attended her webinars or in-person informational meetings or webinars. So she has passed those folks along to us, and we have given them the information on how to apply. Step 4 is host sites conduct candidate interviews and select and notify MTCC of top candidates. So it's up to you to conduct the interviews, select them, offer them the position, and then notify myself or Claire once they have accepted the position. And then we'll be in contact with them by confirming their eligibility and ensuring the understanding of the terms, conditions, and benefits, as well as getting them to fill out the HR hiring paperwork so we can get them paid and in our system in a timely manner.
Callie, before you cut away from the slide, can I cut in?
Yeah.
If you'd prefer not to, if you prefer to like recruit outside of the AmeriCorps portal, I know there are a couple of you that have said that you'd rather recruit differently. Could you just email me and let me know what you'd like me to communicate or where I can direct the candidates that apply on my AmeriCorps portal, just so we're having a consistent message for those folks. I also want to acknowledge that there are a couple of people that I owe application materials to, and I'm going to get those to you this afternoon, and that's it.
Perfect.
And we also had a question from Beth about a little more info on the last bullet on the slide before this one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so the national service listing is a general listing on the My AmeriCorps portal, which is where every single AmeriCorps position across the United States is put. People can search where they want for different things, like maybe they want to serve in Montana, so they're only going to show Montana sites. Maybe they want to serve in food security, so they're going to search those things. And at this point, most of these sites have been put up on there individually, and that's where people are applying to if they're searching for a general AmeriCorps opportunity and they're interested in your site.
Yes, and then I'll also add that this national service listing, once they create an application and apply, that is my way of gathering their information and VISTA's way of confirming that they are a U.S. citizen, that they are of age, and that is also how they do a lot of the back end paperwork. So when a member does apply, and once you tell us this is the person I would like to serve with my position or my organization, this will be part of their onboarding duties, essentially, because it can kind of work both ways, where if you bring in an applicant that you've recruited and they don't have an application through the national service listings, or the portal is what we call it, then that is part of their onboarding paperwork. Or if we have generated applicants through the national service listings, then we already have the references in their application, so then this will not be part of their onboarding paperwork. But essentially it is VISTA's way of making sure that people who are applying and serving with us meet the criteria, and it is also their way of having an account to then apply their ed award to, or their education award, excuse me. And that is how your summer associate will also be able to utilize that education award by going into their account, saying which school or loan provider they would like to provide it to, and then they hit submit, and that's how they manage their education award. So it is an absolute requirement. I'd say the biggest requirement of everyone serving in this program is to have one of these accounts and applications and 2 professional references through the, it's called myamericor.gov. You could even check it out and click around if you'd like yourself. Something else that I wanted to add to recruitment is that, with the exception of the Boys and Girls Club in Ronan, all of your positions are live on our website and on the National Service Listings portal. Amy, I am working on getting your stuff approved this week in the hopes that we can get it on the website and on the National Service Listings. But everyone else, you are on our website. After this webinar, I'll send out an email with a link, and you can kind of read the little blurb that we've put up there, and then there should be a hyperlink that says apply today, and you can click it and it'll take you to the National Service listing. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for those applicants that are looking on our website, or those applicants that you have directed to our website to apply. So that is a really great way for you to get them in contact with the National Service listing, is just by directing them to our webpage.
So Callie, just to make sure that I understand, they are going to have to go through the portal at some point. We may recruit them in a different way, but they'll have to do the portal in order to do the program.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So expectations of host sites. So host sites are you. We expect you to recruit locally for your summer associate candidate. We expect you to supervise and support your summer associate throughout the service term, and we also expect you to ensure that yourself and your summer associate complete all reporting requirements by assigned deadlines. So when I say reporting requirements, in your application, you had to select performance measures in one of the sections, and these are federal performance measures that we then report on a few times a year. So based off of what you've selected, which I believe everyone should have selected the same performance measure, which is just number of individuals served by your program, I will be sending out a report each month. So there will be one for the month of June, July, and I believe 2 to 3 weeks of August. And it is the responsibility of you to make sure that yourself and your summer associate understands these reporting requirements. I will provide guidance as well. So based off of the federal performance measures, there's also some demographics that go along with that, and that will be presented as a Google form, or pretty much like a survey. So it's just pretty much fill in the blanks, and then there's a little bit of a narrative. And I will make sure to go over that before your member begins service. But once you complete one report, it's pretty intuitive. We just want to make sure that your summer associate and yourself are collecting this data in order to correctly report it back to us. The last expectation we have of you as a host site is to just simply pay your host site participation fees, which was mentioned in our MOU that you signed, as well as a previous slide, that it is $1,000 per member. We are, Josh, I don't know if you want to talk about this now, but we are trying to work out something with our cost share with our funders, but we have not, I don't believe we've received any sort of concrete decisions based off of that.
Yeah, thanks, Callie. We assess these participation fees because to operate a VISTA grant, you have to kind of come up with a pretty significant amount of cash to do so. And in our case, it's about $100,000 just for running a handful of what are called cost share members. Given the special circumstances we're under, and knowing that a lot of nonprofits are just kind of being hammered by this, and our standard ways of kind of doing fee for service or fundraising have been, really, really affected. We're exploring and doing kind of just some digging on, do we have the ability to waive either all or a portion of those participation fees for those organizations that, for whom it's kind of a make or break thing. You still want to do the programming, but like $1,000 has to go to something else. So when we send out the guidance in a week, we will have a question on there just with a process for kind of how that might happen. Like I say, we try to make it clear that we're not just sort of trying to fleece people for $1,000, but that we have real kind of programmatic and administrative needs that go along with those participation fees. And that's just kind of the nature of running a VISTA grant. But we also want to figure out how we change things up, if we can, given kind of the, really weird time that we're in and the huge impact that it's having on everybody. So TBD on that. I'm happy to answer questions, but when we put those questions out in a week, we'll have a process for requesting a waiver if that would help you continue to participate.
Great, thank you, Josh. Okay, so a little bit more about Summer Associate reporting. Like I mentioned, it'll be sent out via Google form. You report on performance measures that you selected in your application. There is also reporting, and it's an activity log, which is essentially a timesheet. You have to review and approve it. Your Summer Associate will fill it out, and it goes by week. And so you and your Summer Associate will have to sign it. They are not meant to be submitted to us, but now that I think about it, I might actually ask you to submit it to us because of the teleservice requirements. But I'll send that out in the guidance as well. And then your member and yourself will be working on an end of term impact report. So this is just a 1 to 2 page report, essentially just an essay outlining your project, how it went, some really impactful moments that your member experienced, and then some data that we love to see statistics of how many people you served, how many veterans were a part of your program, how many disadvantaged youth, how many meals were given out, all sorts of things. You can add pretty much anything, and I really love it when host sites and members get really creative with these, because we do read them all and we also use them in our reporting up to our funders, and they love good stories and statistics. So these are the 3 main bits of reporting that we are requiring of you. Josh, did I see a question come through?
Yeah, Kelly asked, basically said the performance measure that they proposed when they applied will change because of COVID-19, and they won't be engaging folks in person. Will this work? And I just replied, yes, with an asterisk. We're not guaranteeing it for everything. We'll probably just need to make sure it jives with the guidance we have, but the folks at kind of VISTA HQ in Denver have been really helpful, and they understand that this is a unique time, and we're happy to not be hearing a lot of rigidity as folks are scrambling to figure out how do we do our missions, how do we engage youth given these circumstances. So we're hopeful that we can get things sorted out with kind of either revisions to VADs or teleservice forms that keep folks kind of doing work, but we know things are going to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Okay, so I believe this might be my last slide, but yes, I talked a little bit about training. So your Summer Associate will undergo MTCC training on their first day of service. These are the things that we cover, and a few more things that are not listed, but we cover, MTCC and Summer Associates mission and service. We review expectations and benefits of our members. We go over reporting requirements as well as activity logs. We also like to include some good informational webinars about, just the poverty landscape in general in Montana, and answer any questions that they might have. It's usually just a 1-day training. starts in the morning and runs until I believe around 1 p.m. So it's a few hours. This is also where they'll be doing their swearing in to officially become AmeriCorps VISTA Summer Associates. So this is a mandatory training that your member must attend. We do not know as of just yet whether we will be able to hold that in person. My hope is that we will be able to hold it in person because I really enjoy meeting some of these folks, and I think it would just be really great if we could, you know, implement this program in the best way that we know possible. But like I said, it could easily become a virtual webinar that we will have, and we'll make sure to coordinate that with you and your member. Okay, so that's it for now. I forgot to put Josh's information on this slide, but this is my information and Claire's. And it looks like we might have some questions.
Weston had asked about connecting with the person at their nearby compact institution, their college or university. And I think you're in Bozeman, is that correct?
Yes.
And so what I just plugged into the chat, if you're able to see it, is a link to the page on our website that has the advisory committee folks. So Weston, for you, I would probably start with Heidi Worley, is the person at MSU Bozeman, with probably the most access to students or the best starting place. And then, yeah, I'll plug my email down there as well. Cassandra Winter asks, what if I already fully recruited my team of summer associates?
I'd say that is very good news to hear from you, Cassie. If you have already fully recruited your team of summer associates, please make sure to relay their information, I'd say as soon as possible, to myself, to that email. That way we can start communicating with them, letting them know that they have some paperwork they need to fill out and that they have the My AmeriCorps portal application that they'll need to fill out as well. So please just send me over their contact information. It would be great even if you sent them an email and CC'd me on it to do the introduction. But that is really great news, Cassie. All right, and then Beth Judy says, as far as talking with candidates about being a VISTA, are there things you tell people who are applying to the program and why it's a cool thing to be involved with? Yeah, we try to, you know, walk them through the benefits of it, that they're going to be a part of, you know, a national service movement, that they'll receive an Ed Award, which, you know, is a great way to help pay for college or past financial things through like student loans. Let's see, am I missing anything, Josh? You know, I think it's also selling your position as well, of saying, you know, you can serve here, make an impact this way through our program, but it does get a little vague with serving with AmeriCorps in general because there are so many different programs, but you know, it's cool to be a part of a national service movement. They'll be a part of a cohort, and it's a great way to pay for college. It's also a great way to make an impact in a community, whether it's the community that you're living in or not. Hopefully
I was just gonna add, oh, go ahead, Claire.
No, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. Oh, I like to say that it's also a good resume builder. There's a lot of employers of national service that prioritize hiring VISTA and AmeriCorps.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really great point. I'd say after I did my terms of service, every interview that I went into, that is what they wanted to talk about. So I think it is a really great stepping stone. They'll also gain some professional development through it. And then Kelly asked, back to the $1,300, did you say that that is a lump sum good for up to 7 years, or couldn't it be received at $345 biweekly? So the $1,300 is the education award, and they will receive it as a lump sum once they complete their service term. So it is not available to them until after they complete service, and it is good for 7 years. And then the $345.80 that I mentioned, that I'll go back to the slide, make it easier on us all.
Yeah, they have the option of either cash or Ed Award as Vistas.
Yeah,
that's
so the only thing that is paid bi-weekly pre-taxed is their paycheck. So that is considered a living stipend is what it is called. So that is the first bit of this slide. So that is their paychecks that they'll receive. And then on top of their paychecks, they receive either an education award of the $1,311 or a cash award of just a one-time $345.80. It's not biweekly.
Then we have another question from Wendy Campbell in the chat. Basically, is May 8th the hard cutoff date if we have a standing stay-at-home order as of May 8th, and your programming relies on in-person delivery? You know, if it just doesn't work, I think that is a good time to decline and let us know. Our hope is that there is some hopeful news that at least some degree of in-person delivery safely can happen by then, but nobody has a crystal ball. That's my general read on that. It's hard for us to really, you know, answer not knowing what it's going to mean, but that's why we're kind of sticking with the 2-week increments and kind of hoping for the best, prepping for the worst effectively.
Exactly.
So we encourage people to be thinking really, you know, creatively about what are alternative ways to plug in our summer associate so that we can do mission and do some degree of the work that we had hoped to do in person. If that's how it shakes out, clearly that would be a pretty rough deal and not something we look forward to, but I think better to offer something, you know, in the way of you know, youth programming than just nothing, but we know that's not possible for everybody across the board.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I think if, you know, if you want to get creative with it, Wendy, and if you have, you know, some planning or research, curriculum development, or any sort of indirect service that your member could partake in, that is available through teleservice. So if that's an option for you and you can engage someone through teleservice full time by having them do capacity building activities versus direct service, then that would be a good thing to explore. I know some other host sites are considering that as well, but like Josh said, yeah, if it's a no-go, then it's a no-go, and we completely understand that. Okay, so let's see, I think there's a few more messages.
Yeah, Claire Ann asked about by what date must they be 18 years old?
June 8th, their first day of service. We've seen that in the past. We had a member who turned 18 on the first day of service, which is allowable, but they have to be 18 by their first day. Okay, so we have about 5 more minutes, and definitely answer some more questions if anyone has them.
I have a question.
Okay.
And this is sort of to piggyback off of what Wendy was asking about. So for us, it's heartening to hear about the fact that you guys are looking into the potential of total or partial cost share waivers. And for our organization, I mean, I'd have to look at the budget, but really for us, the ability to pay depends on whether or not we can run summer programming, because it's all put into the same budget. And so at the same time, the CDC is expecting to come out with guidelines for summer camps. That's going to come out around May 15th is what they're looking at for that. And so I guess I'm wondering with the recruitment strategy and timelines, and maybe this is just something to continue to talk about and think about, but like we can take somebody on, but it's the saying we have $1,000 in the bank if we can't run our summer camp programs to pay somebody to work to do development things. That's going to be a hard sell. So I guess I'm just wondering again, as we continue this at a 2-week by 2-week basis, there are some deadlines coming out on a more national level towards looking at mid-May. So I'm just a little still wondering about the flexibility with that May 8th date, or is that just a hard deadline of like, you've got to say yes or no by then?
It's we've decided as an office that that's an internal date for us to be able to then make our next best decision. I think, we could handle things on a case by case basis with you. I also think it's really important that when, with recruitment, that you're making sure that whoever you're bringing on also understands that they may or may not be able to serve based off of, the CDC's guidance and whatever Governor Bullock has decided. But I think it would be, beneficial of you to start talking to us sooner rather than later about even the possibility of a fee waiver, how that would affect your financial stuff. I'm not heavily involved in the budgeting. That's more of a thing for Josh, which I think if we could sit down and talk on the phone or email about it or whatever, we could definitely figure something out. I'm not saying that May 8th is like a hard and fast date, but it is a date that we've kind of built out based off of our requirements, because CNCS puts a hard and fast date on us, and that's how we've been able to build it back. I think, the 15th is definitely cutting it kind of close, because I have to have all summer associates in the system by the 20th of May. And that's why I put the date of the 14th to let me know who your summer associate is going to be, because we have upwards of 70 people that we have to onboard and get into the system between the 14th and the 20th. So I think if there's, an exception of 1 or 2 host sites, we can definitely handle that as time goes on. But I'd say if we know that the 15th is a better date for you to be able to make a decision, then we'll be in contact about that. But moving forward, if you internally within your organization have come up with decisions before the 15th or even by the 8th, please just communicate them with us and we can kind of handle it on a case by case basis.
That seems super reasonable. Thanks for explaining a little bit more about your constraints too in there. And we'll just keep our fingers crossed that this all gets resolved sooner than later.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what a lot of us are kind of doing is, I joke about, we're all just flying this plane as we build it. I think we're all kind of in the same situation of trying to figure things out with the current information, knowing that things are changing rather quickly. Perfect. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? We're right at the 3:30 mark. Okay, well, I don't see the chat flashing and no one has unmuted themselves. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here and being flexible and understanding of the constraints that we're all working within. And if you have any questions or concerns, oh, I think there's one more chat. Oh, someone just saying thank you. You're very welcome. So I'll pull up that last slide if you want to take a picture or write down information, but I believe all of you have heard from either myself or Claire at one time or another. So you should have our emails. And I think I'm gonna check the chat one more time. Yes, okay, everyone's just saying thank you. Well, thank you for being here, everyone. You know where to find Claire and I. We really appreciate you being here, and we look forward to providing you with the guidance and hearing about how and if all of this can work out over time.
Thanks, Kelly.
Of course, thank you for being here.
Yep.